Bradley Beal just got bought out. Not traded, bought out. That's already shocking. Players with $150+ million left on their deals don't just vanish. But this isn't just about Beal. It's a glimpse into two franchises going in completely opposite directions. One sinking in silence and one quietly building a monster. You're about to see why this move might be the biggest warning sign Phoenix has ever sent and the biggest opportunity the Clippers have ever gambled on.
You almost never see a buyout like this. When teams owe a player over $150 million, they do everything they can to trade him. Attach picks, throw in role players, beg smaller teams to take on salary. But Phoenix couldn't do any of that because Bradley Beal had something very few NBA players have: a no-trade clause. That one clause turned a potential trade into a dead end. The Suns couldn't move him without his approval. And Beal wasn't just picky. He refused every destination that didn't fit his priorities. Winning, big market, full paycheck. That basically left Phoenix stuck. And rather than pay his massive salary to sit on the bench, they waved the white flag and bought him out. This is uncharted territory. Dame Lillard's buyout made sense. He tore his Achilles. Beal, still healthy, still productive, yet somehow unwanted. And that says a lot about how far his stock has fallen, but even more about how Phoenix has unraveled behind the scenes.
But if you think this is just about Beal's fall off, you're missing the real story. This was about Phoenix finally admitting something nobody wanted to say out loud. It wasn't that long ago that the Suns looked like a title favorite. Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. It sounded unbeatable on paper. But behind the scenes, the reality was ugly. No chemistry, no structure, no future picks, no depth. This wasn't just a failed super team. It was a franchise imploding in slow motion. By cutting ties with Beal, the Suns aren't just losing an all-star name. They're eating $150 million in dead cap space across several years. That's the kind of decision you only make when your franchise is in chaos. They didn't just lose faith in Beal. They lost faith in the entire direction of the team. KD looked disinterested. Booker was left carrying the load. The locker room was filled with tension, reports of players zoning out coaches, and a growing sense that no one wanted to be there anymore. And their future? Basically non-existent. They've mortgaged their draft capital for years. Their young talent pool is dry. They grabbed Jalen Green, sure, but even he's more promise than proven. The Suns didn't just wave Beal. They waved the towel on the Big Three experiment. But while Phoenix was blowing it all up, the Clippers were playing chess. Norm Powell being traded confused a lot of fans. He was a reliable scorer, a team-first guy, and a key part of their rotation. But now it makes sense. The Clippers weren't just trading Powell. They were clearing the runway for Bradley Beal. Instead of loading up the backcourt, they brought in John Collins to fill the front court, knowing Beal was coming. This wasn't a panic move. It was precision. They flipped Powell, avoided a future extension with him, and gave themselves a shot to upgrade with Beal. Now they've got Harden, Beal, Kawhi, and depth that matches up with anyone in the West. And here's the crazy part. They did it without giving up any core assets. No picks, no forced salary dumps, no sacrificing the future. It's a masterclass in cap maneuvering. And they got a guy who, when he's right, can be a top 25 scorer in the league. But can Beal actually deliver, or has his game fallen off the cliff without us noticing? Let's be honest, the last two seasons haven't been kind to Bradley Beal's reputation. People talk like he's washed, like he's a ghost of what he used to be. But look closer, and the numbers tell a different story. He averaged nearly 18 points per game last season on decent efficiency. He wasn't some bench warmer or locker room cancer, but he was coasting. His defense was bad, his energy was inconsistent, his body language told the story of a guy stuck somewhere he didn't want to be. Still, the offensive talent, it's there. Beal can score at all three levels. He's a streaky but capable shooter, a decent passer, and he's got the IQ to fit in on a team like LA. So why did the league give up on him so quickly? Because perception is everything. Beal had the no-trade clause, the monster contract, and the I'll go where I want attitude. To front offices, that looks like entitlement, even if the numbers are still solid. But now, he's got his way. A new team, a fresh start. But what's his actual role in LA?
The Clippers didn't bring Beal in to run the second unit, let's be clear.
They didn't pitch him on playing behind Harden or taking a back seat to Kawhi. They pitched him on starting. because if they didn't, he wouldn't have signed. Beal had other offers. Milwaukee, Miami, even some dark horse playoff teams. But LA promised him minutes, spotlight, and a real role in the offense. That's why he chose them. The starting five now looks like Harden, Beal, Kawhi, Collins, and Zubac. A balanced unit with shooting, creation, and playoff experience. But what if it doesn't work? What if Harden and Beal can't share the ball? What if the defense falls apart? There's a world where the Clippers have to rework the lineup. Maybe start Chris Dunn for defense. Move Beal to a six-man role and stagger the stars. Would Beal accept that? Maybe, maybe not. But that's what makes this fascinating. It could go either way.
And how this year plays out will decide everything about Beal's next contract and his legacy. Right now, Bradley Beal is on a bargain deal. Around $5 million for a player who used to make $50 million a year. That's a steal. But it's also temporary. In 2026, Beal hits unrestricted free agency. And if he balls out this year, he could cash in big again. Not max level money, but something real. Maybe $15 to $20 million per year. But that creates a problem for the Clippers. They've made it clear they want flexibility in 2026 and 2027. That's when most of their current contracts expire, and when they want to chase stars or reset the roster. So, what do they do if Beal plays well? Do they break the bank to keep him, or let him walk for nothing? Beal, for his part, isn't someone who likes jumping teams. He stayed in Washington too long. He stuck it out in Phoenix too long. If things go well in LA, you can bet he'll want to stay. But will the Clippers feel the same? And if you think this whole situation is unique, think again. This is part of a much bigger trend.
This summer changed everything. Dame and Beal, two of the highest paid players in the league, both got bought out. Not traded, bought out. That's not just rare, it's historic. NBA teams are showing less patience than ever. No trade clauses are becoming poison pills. Long-term contracts aren't sacred anymore. If a star doesn't deliver immediately, front offices are cutting their losses. Flexibility is king now, even over names. And that's the world Beal walks into. If he doesn't show effort, if the fit isn't perfect, the Clippers won't hesitate to pivot again. The days of waiting for a star to figure it out, over. Which brings us to the big picture.
Bradley Beal didn't just get bought out. He got a second chance. A shot at rewriting his entire narrative. And for the Clippers, this isn't just a smart deal. It might be the smartest bet of the offseason. It could work beautifully. Or it could crash and burn. But one thing's clear. LA's not afraid to gamble. And Phoenix, they've already folded. What happens next could reshape the Western Conference and Bradley Beal's future in ways nobody expected.